the driving factors. A lot of people wanted to vote no on this contract because they were afraid they were going to lose their market rate adjustment. But in this contract, you're not going to lose the market rate adjustment. They're going to keep their market rate and get a raise.
Donnie Helms is a steward at UPS here in Madison with the Teamsters Local 402, member of the union for 28 years, and most importantly, the current guest on the Valley Labor Report. Brother Donnie, thanks for joining us this morning. I appreciate it.
Thank you for having me, Jacob. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning.
Yeah, it's great to have you. Really enjoyed talking to you yesterday, and you know, so let's we can start by talking about how you kind of came to be involved with the union. You've been a member for 28 years, been working at UPS for 28 years. What was it that what made you start want to work at UPS?
Well, the good thing about working at UPS, you could be part-time, and of course you could have insurance. That's unheard of while you were trying to go to college. And at the time, I couldn't get on mom and dad's insurance, of course. At this time, they didn't have the Obama stuff that came along, and you can stay on your insurance now till 26, your parents' insurance. But that was a big driving factor. I needed insurance. And then here was a place I could work over 5 hours. I was paid overtime. And it was Monday through Friday, no weekends at the time. And that's what drove me to UPS. And then after I got to working with UPS, I saw that, there's some unfair stuff going on here. We have a contract. Somebody needs to hold UPS accountable to this. And of course, I became a steward. And that was mainly the driving force for me working with UPS and becoming a steward.
And so what, unions, as well as I do, are not as common in the South as they are in other places in the country, although Alabama does have the highest union density rate in the South. So it's more common here than other places. But it's still, some people, when I talk to people about my involvement in my union and in the labor movement, sometimes I'll get some side eyes and people, not really kind of getting it, I guess. Did you kind of have to overcome any of that in yourself, or has unions always kind of been part of your life?
My dad was anti-union, I will say that, and he encouraged me not to be part of the union. But being in Huntsville, Alabama, Huntsville as a city is not pro-union. We are not. But companies such as UPS. They make billions of dollars. And if we didn't have unions, they would be making even more billions of dollars. That's the feel here in Huntsville. I know, like I said, my family was against it, and I'm pro-union. Is the union perfect? No, I'll be the first to tell you, no, the union's not perfect. But I think without the union, like I said, UPS would be making a lot more money. We would be treated a lot worse. And that's just my opinion on it.
Absolutely. UPS would be making, be taking more of the money that would be going to y'all and going into your pockets, being spent in our community. And instead of that, it'd be going to, some wealthy person's stock in New York or DC or California, something like that. And,
yes,
like
sir,
you said,
I highly agree with that statement. Yes, sir.
Yeah. And y'all would be treated, you've got really just a perfect kind of example. You look at FedEx, right? I mean, if you want to see how folks at UPS would be paid and compensated and treated if they weren't members of the Teamsters union, look at FedEx and look at Amazon. And I think, that's really all you have to do. If you give people an option, do you want to work at UPS or FedEx or Amazon? UPS is the obvious choice.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
And so the reason that we are talking to you today is because of the tentative agreement that the International Brotherhood of Teamsters has come to with UPS. They came to that agreement shortly before the deadline. Voting ends on the 22nd. And so talk to us some about what are the what are some of the big picture items for you and members in your facility?
Okay. And in our facility, one of the big things was, of course, part-timer pay. Part-timer pay is by far, it's been overlooked and maybe not addressed in the past contracts as it should. They have raised it, but as far as Mr. O'Brien, our general president, said, a lot of our part-timers live in poverty. $15.50 an hour starting out. You hit on Amazon, you hit on FedEx, you know, they pay $16 to $18 an hour. Some even $20. Toyota plant pays $20 an hour. It was hard for us to find employees. I've been working some 14-hour days because we don't have enough people to load trucks, unload trucks in the evening, reload the feeders, because at that pay rate, we couldn't get it. This contract bumps that up to automatically $21 an hour. And even if part-timers that's been there longer, they're going to receive even more money based on their years. I think you have to have 5 years of service. They're going to get an additional amount of money bumped up to that 21 because they're probably already making close to the $21, $22 range if you've been there 5 years.
Right.
That is,
I mean, that's huge, especially, you know, workers across Alabama are, you know, it's going to be, they have what are called market rate adjustments in other places, but I don't think those are as common in Alabama. And so you are going to have a lot of people in the warehouse that are making $15.50 and immediately retroactive to the August 1st, actually, is my understanding. And so they'll get a nice check for the back pay immediately to $21 an hour.
Yes, sir. That is correct. And that was one of the driving factors across the U.S. that I think so a lot of people wanted to vote no on this contract. You hit it the nail on the head, was a market rate adjustment. They were afraid they were going to lose their market rate adjustment. But if you dig deep in this contract, and you're not going to lose the market rate adjustment, they're going to get that plus get to keep their market rate and get a raise. So that's I think that was the big misinterpretation that was going across with a lot of the vote no going on. My building, like I said, I'm one person. I encourage everybody. This is the best contract I've ever seen in my 28 years at UPS. Now, does it leave a few people behind? I'm sure it does. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But it's really, really good in the big scheme and the big picture of things.
And you know, just to kind of, you know, I think it would be helpful for folks to know that, you know, you're not the type to just vote automatically yes on every contract. You voted against the 2018 contract, right?
I did. And the main driving factor for me voting no is what Mr. O'Brien and Fred Zuckerman have addressed in this contract was the 22.4 drivers, which let me just label this for you. This is a guy that's going to be doing the same job as I'm doing in package delivery, and he's going to be making $7 less an hour. He's not going to be making the same amount of money that I'm doing, and we're both doing the same job. So basically what that does to you is that kind of drives a wedge in between you and your coworker. He's making $7 less an hour than you are, of course, on 40 hours a week. That's $280 a week less than this guy's making. And, you know, I saw the big picture. I said, well, UPS is going to send him to me toward the end of the day, but when I go on to overtime, and they're going to force him to deliver my last 20 or 30 stops, because also they didn't have any kind of 9.5 hour protection. They don't have 8-hour protection. Then they can force them to work 6 days a week. You know, I don't have a lot of family life working for UPS. I've missed out a lot of stuff. My kids growing up, ball games, family events. I walk up to houses, deliver. You see people sitting around the table eating supper together. And I don't get to do that, you know, and I didn't want this for these guys. And that's the main reason I voted no on that contract, was because of the 22.4. They two-tiered the pay system.
Mm-hmm. And like you said, that has been addressed in this contract, and immediately all 22.4 drivers will be turned into regular package car drivers and placed in the normal progression.
Yes, sir. Now they all have the same rights. When they finish their progression, they will top out at whatever our top out rate is that year. So they will be paid accordingly. And this is a great gain. I hate it happened in that contract. Like I said, I voted no. And I think the majority, I think we had a no vote on that contract. But as I stated, Mr. Hoffa Jr., we didn't have enough people vote, which is the membership's fault. We didn't have enough people vote, and the general president had the power through bylaws and stuff to push that on through, and that's what he chose to do.
Hey, 5 seconds. Just wanted to say that this is only possible because of our donors. If you want to see more of this, then consider donating yourself at tvlr.fm/donate.
And so, I mean, that's going to be really, really huge for, thousands of new regular package car drivers going to be in that progression. And talk to us about the raises that the package car drivers got, because those were pretty, pretty substantial too.
Yes, sir. At the end of this contract, I know everybody's seeing the $170,000 a year thing online. It's out there. It's on the web. That's at the end of 5 years that we'll be making that kind of money. But when I go to my tax account at the end of that 5 years, he's not going to put down $170,000 as my gross income. That contributes to your pension. That contributes to your health and welfare package that we have. And I think on 40 hours, we will actually be making over $100,000 a year. We work a lot of overtime, Jacob. We work a lot of overtime. Like I said, I just finished up, I think it was 18 weeks. I was actually working close to 14 hours a day up to my 60, and then was being asked or trying to get volunteers to come in on Saturday and work over 60 hours. That was just mainly in the warehouse. I wouldn't be on the road, but that's just because we had a shortage of workers and we were in a hiring freeze due to this contract. And it's been pretty rough here over the past, but we're receiving a $7.50 raise over 5 years, which will put us close to making 49, maybe with our COLA raises. If we get COLA raises, which I'm sure we will, because inflation is pretty high right now, we will be close to $50 an hour at the end of the 5-year contract.
And yesterday you were talking to me about mechanics. When people think about UPS, typically they'll think about drivers and warehouse workers. Really, they'll think about drivers. But if they think about anybody else, it's going to be warehouse workers. But UPS also employs a lot of mechanics that are members of the Teamsters. What happened? What did they get in the contract, in the TA?
Over the years, that's somebody that we've forgotten, kind of like the part-timers. There's not a lot of mechanics at UPS. At my facility, we have 3. In the Huntsville facility, they have 2. So there's not a lot of mechanics. So basically, they do get overlooked a lot. This brought out some things for them. I listened to them complain over the past 2 contracts and try to get my mechanics involved on what they really wanted, and to turn in stuff at the beginning when we were taking stuff to put in this new contract. They actually got an increase in their tool allowance each year. I think it went up $150. They now have only a 1-year progression. They went from a 2-year progression to a 1-year progression. They go to top out rate after 1 year. And this is unheard of. Now they can jump classifications. If they have 15 years or more service, most of them are CDL qualified. They can drive our semi trucks. They can actually bid into, if there's a feeder opening, which is our tractor trailers is what we call our feeders. They feed our buildings. They can bid on a feeder job, or if they're crazy enough, they can leave mechanic and come into package with us, which I think would be crazy because it's a different animal than those feeder trucks. So.
Gotcha. Well, that sounds great. And so, you said, and the other thing, so there are in addition to the national contract, the Teamsters and UPS have regional supplements, and the supplements are what cover the pensions, and the Southern supplement has, it sounds to me like a pretty nice pretty nice addition to the pension package. Can you talk to us about what y'all got in the Southern Supplement?
Yes, sir. On general, I guess if you look at it, if in the past we usually got maybe $400 each contract, maybe $300-$400 increase in our retirement in the past 2 contracts, I'm pretty sure. This new contract, if you retire after January 1, 2024, and now it looks at your age. If you have 55 years old, if you're 55 years old and you have 35 years of service, that jump from this last contract to the new contract, $1,000. You went from $4,300 to $5,300. Now, on the 30-year with age 55, it went from 38 to 48. So it was $1,000 jump if you have the age. If you don't have the age, I think it jumped about $400 each year on both of those. So if you meet the age requirements and you meet the service requirements, this is a milestone. I've never seen the retirement go up $1,000 like it did this contract.
Yeah. That is definitely huge. And so, those are some of the highlights of the contract. And you told me that you are going to be voting yes, or you have voted yes for this tentative agreement. Why is it that, why are you voting yes?
Well, let's just hit. Like I said, the main reason was the 22.4s. We eliminated those jobs. No more 2-tier. Everybody's the same. I'm all about being fair. Like I said, that's the reason I became a steward. All about being fair across the board. $7.50 raise over 5 years on top of what I already make. It's pretty good. Pretty good. Part-timers increase in pay. They went from $15.50 to $21 an hour. That's a $4.35 raise. We didn't forget the part-timers. We'll be getting Martin Luther King Day off. That's another holiday that they've added to our list of holidays we didn't receive. That's a bonus for us. No more forced overtime. I've had a lot of my guys in my building, the lower senior guys that are drivers. We didn't staff up with the 22.4s, I guess, because they knew they were going to destroy that classification, and they would have to turn all those guys into full-time drivers, so they didn't want to have too many on staff. A lot of my guys for the last 2 years have had to work 6 days a week. A lot of my drivers that are on the bottom end of the seniority list. Under this new contract, UPS can't force them to work on that Saturday. They're going to have to do a new schedule of Tuesday through Saturday, Monday through Friday type drivers. Now, will some of my guys still have to work on Saturdays? Yes, they will. But they will also be off on Mondays. So they will only go up to a 5-day. Let's talk about air conditioning. Something I never thought in my career at UPS I would see. They're going to have to put air conditioners on new trucks starting in January, any new truck they buy. We're getting heat shields. I think that's going to help a lot. I've knelt down in the back of the truck right behind the bulkhead door and actually burned my knee from where the exhaust is right there. And the metal floor is so hot that it will actually burn you. 150 degrees in the back of the package car, 110 in the cab. Air conditioning is definitely going to help out. Let's see, what else have I got? 7,500 new full-time jobs. That's awesome for people that are part-time. And then, of course, me and you hit on the mechanics, the benefits that they're getting from this contract, and, of course, the pension increases. That's enough right there for me. That got my yes vote.
And how are people in your facility? Have you been able to kind of get a pulse on folks working around here, how they're going to be voting?
In Madison and the Huntsville Center, I still have some connections there. You're going to always have a few no's, but I believe the majority, we're going to be yes here in Madison and Huntsville, North Alabama. That's my opinion from the talk I get.
Yeah. And so, we can wrap up here by, I think that we both want to encourage people to vote, however they're going to be voting, to vote, because, people at FedEx and Amazon, they don't get a vote on their working conditions, right? And so it's a really unique opportunity as a working person in Alabama and the United States of America to be able to be a part of creating the conditions that you work in and having a say. And so, absolutely want to encourage people to vote. Can you tell UPS Teamsters how they would go about doing that?
Voting, you should have received a ballot in the mail. In that ballot, there is a QR code that you can scan, and you can vote via email or internet. If you flip it to the ballot over on the back, there's an 800 number. I think it's an 877 number. You call that number. There's a code right above it. You type that code in. It's going to give you some instructions. Then it gets down to the master agreement that you have a right to vote yes or no on. And then it also, after you vote on that one, it tells you about the Southern supplement that we also have to vote on. And you just, it's pretty simple. One or two, one yes, two no, and that'll wrap it up. And you have your vote in. And I encourage everybody to vote. Even if you vote no, that's your right. That's a good thing about being in the union, is being fair. If you don't like it, vote no. If you are for it, which I am, and I encourage all my guys, hey, like I said, this is one of the best contracts in my 28 years that I've seen from at UPS, hands down.
Donnie Helms, steward over at the Madison facility for Teamsters Local 402 at UPS in Alabama. Really appreciate your time. Enjoy the conversation.
Jacob, thank you for having me. And I just want to thank all my Teamster family out there. I have a lot of stewards I rely heavy on. I want to thank Sean O'Brien, General President, Fred Zuckerman, Secretary Treasurer, Thor Johnson, Brian Rothman, Joe Gronick, my business agent that contacted you, I guess, for me to talk to you. I want to thank him, Shane Titus, Philip Hill, Lynn Crutcher, Corey Phelps, and Devin Jensen, awesome stewards that I rely heavy on. And without them, I wouldn't be what I am. So thank you so much, Jacob.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for taking the time. Talk soon.
Yes,
all right.
sir.
All right, folks. That was, like I said, Donnie Helms, steward at UPS here in Madison, Alabama for Teamsters Local 402. Really appreciated that perspective and a lot of good things. I learned some stuff. I didn't realize that about the mechanics, and I didn't realize this. I didn't know the specifics about the pension increases in the Southern supplement. So that all sounds pretty cool.
You just saw a clip from the Valley Labor Report. We are live every Saturday morning from 9:30 a.m. till 12:30 p.m. And we pride ourselves on keeping all of our content free to everybody so that we can talk to as many working folks as possible. If you support the work that we're doing, you think that it's important, you think that it's good, then consider making a monthly contribution to the project, and you can do that on our website, tvlr.fm.